How we decide how much inventory of a product we're going to purchase. How's it going, guys, and welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video. As you see by the title of this video, we're going to be going over how our team decides on how much inventory of an individual product to take. At any point during this video, if you're interested in getting signed on with our Amazon automation company, there's going to be a link in the description below. You can book a 30-minute call with me. We can go over any questions you have, look at any store results from clients that we have on right now. So if you want any more information on that, then definitely book a call in the link in the description. There's two main softwares that we use to decide how much quantity of an item we're going to take, and those two softwares, one's going to be Keepa and SellerAmp, and those things are going to be able to give us the analytics on these listings. So SellerAmp primarily is going to be telling us how much stock is on a listing. We're going to be able to see how many sellers are on it and how much inventory they have in stock. And then with Keepa, we're able to tell how many sales it gets per month. We're able to look at the price history on it to see, you know, what has that sold for in the past 3 months, 6 months, even a year, or even the entire length of the listing. We're just able to see where that sold at in the past. So let's say we're looking at a listing that the price does make sense on. We've looked at the price history on it as well, and we know that we can sell this for a profit. When we are choosing how much we can actually sell or buy of this particular product, the first thing we're going to look at is the stock. Because let's just say a listing gets 1,000 sales a month, but there's 3,000 units in stock on that. That's 3 months worth of inventory. We're not going to want to go as heavy on one of those listings. That price is probably going to drop down just because of simple supply and demand. There's too much supply than there is the demand. With only 1,000 sales, that price is going to have to drop, and people will drop that price and compete to sell those units. So when we're looking at one of those listings, as long as our ROI is good enough, anticipating for that price to drop, then we're still going to purchase that, but we're going to be a lot more conservative on how many units we take of a listing that has that much stock on it. On the flip side, if there's a listing that again sells 1,000 times a month and only has 200 units in stock on that, we know there still may be sellers coming into stock on that, but if they're not keeping up to stock very frequently, then that's when we're going to look to, you know, especially if they only have, you know, not even a half of a month's worth of inventory, we're definitely going to look to be more aggressive on that. And that's not to say that we'll take a full 1,000 units, because again, we're always looking to sell through our inventory within a 30-day period. Does it always work out that way? No. Sometimes it'll happen sooner. Sometimes it'll take 40 days, 50 days to sell through that, but we're always looking to have it sold through within 30 days. So we're not going to be necessarily taking 1,000 units of that product, but we would be looking at maybe taking 850 to 900 units, just because, you know, if there's not much stock there and the ROI is good, it makes sense to take that much, even if it might take a little bit over 30 days to sell through. And then another thing that we're looking at that, you know, separate from just the stock on that, is also how much the buy box is shared. There's some listings where there's been a seller on it for years now where that buy box is primarily dominated by them. Not to say you can't get sales on it. Again, if you have a competitive price, you're still going to sell it. But if there's a seller that has a bunch of stock and has been in stock on that product for a long time, Amazon is going to favorite them on the buy box because they're trustable, they're reliable, they've been on this listing for a while, versus if we look at a listing where, you know, there's not one primary seller and there's a bunch of sellers in and out of that listing, then we know we're going to be able to get a lot more sales on that. So what we're looking at is, again, we want to get sold through within 30 days. So if there's a listing that sells 1,000 times a month and we only think we can take up, you know, 50% of that buy box, we're only going to buy 500 units for that listing. So again, it matters how much stock is in there, but it also matters how much that buy box is actually shared on that. So if there is, you know, not a primary seller and that buy box, you know, the top person gets about 17% of the sales and there's a bunch of sellers on that, we're going to be a little more aggressive on how many units we take, because we know if we have that competitive price, we're going to be able to take, you know, quite a bit of a chunk of that buy box, whether we could sell through 60 or 70% of the, you know, and get 70% of those sales, versus a listing that has a seller that's been on there for a while now at a pretty competitive price. We're going to be a lot more conservative on one of those listings as well, and maybe only take 200 to 300 units so we can get that sold through within that 30-day period. Those are just kind of the basic analytics that we're going to look at. Is there more that goes into it? And of course, it's case by case on those products. You know, is it, you know, a product that's going to be selling more during the summertime, so we can anticipate for those sales to go up? Does it sell more in the winter? Are those sales going to drop off? There's a lot more factors that can go into play, but those are the basic guidelines of what we're looking for when we're actually purchasing, you know, figuring out how much units we want to purchase of a single product. So I hope this video is insightful. I hope it, you know, gave you a little bit better of an understanding of how to actually go forward with choosing how much inventory to purchase. If you guys have any questions on anything that I went went over it I might have left out, definitely leave a comment in the comment section down below. I'll see you guys in the next video.